All right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and today I'm Uncle Camel again. As you probably know by now, I am the uncle of last resort. As always, I'm going to be coming back over the weekend with a deep dive TA. There's an awful lot of development in the charts this week, so make sure you come back tomorrow. I'm going to keep it kind of short today. I've got a little bit more time than I usually have, but let's get straight into this. Yellen landed in China here, and this is the dollar since then. So what exactly is going on? I'm not really sure. And at the same time, we are seeing the Swiss franc bid. Now, I'll be completely honest with you. I'm not really a currency guy. Cryptocurrency fine, but not sort of FX pairs. So if anyone can explain this, my interpretation of this is kind of like a flight to safety. And I don't really know much more than that, and I could be really wrong about that. But if any of you are Forex guys, please let me know how you interpret these two charts. The main news for yesterday in the crypto world is that a US judge has ruled that XRP is not a security. So I think this was always a game. I think most people knew this was never going to be ruled a security, but it's been a long time. There's been a lot of uncertainty. And whether you care about XRP or not, this is a win for the wider market. The market responded very, very happily to XRP yesterday, as you can see with this massive pump, which happened all within about an hour. After sitting through this for a long time, saying, oh, we haven't really done much. Now we apparently are starting to do things. So happy days there. There's more news because XRP was delisted from Coinbase after the SEC went after it, and Coinbase have now said it's going to be relisted. I believe it's already relisted. So happy days there, I guess. Over in Europe, we've got the first Bitcoin ETF to launch next month. And I had a look at this, right? This is an actual ETF. It's not an exchange traded note. And the key difference is, unlike an exchange traded note, an ETF cannot be leveraged or use derivatives, which could otherwise lead to significant counterparty risk. With gold, a lot of gold ETFs are actually ETNs. And what tends to happen is you can have up to 20-to-1 claims on the physical gold that's kept in reserves. So that means if there's 1 ounce of gold in the safe, in the vault, at the ETN manager's custodian, there could be 20 people that have bought 1 ounce's worth of the ETN. So there's 20 claims in paper form on that 1 ounce of gold that sits in the vault. So that is leverage on leverage and derivatives on derivatives. And in my mind, I always kind of thought that this is probably what they're going to try to do to Bitcoin. So when I saw this, I thought this doesn't quite add up. I thought they're going to try to dilute the supply. I thought they're going to try to over leverage this thing and control the price like they did with gold. Of course, the difference is you can always exit the system by holding your own gold in your hand, right? And you can do the same with Bitcoin. If you buy your Bitcoin and cold store it, then you won't have to suffer from having multiple claims on your gold, right? Once I started to dig into this a little deeper, there's a federal ban which is being proposed on fractional reserve Bitcoin. So it actually seems like, dare I say it, they might be learning from their mistakes. It actually seems like perhaps they don't want to have 20-to-1 ratios of claims against reserves. If this sort of thing was to go through, we would have protection against the dilution of the supply. Now remember, you can't dilute the real supply. Okay, but what you can do, like I say, is issue more and more paper claims on the underlying reserves. Again, you can circumvent this with both precious metals and Bitcoin by bearing the ultimate assets yourself, by holding them in your hand or by cold storing your Bitcoin. But this is certainly a step in the right direction. This is certainly something that I'm frankly happy and surprised to see. We've got a little bit more good news here because the percentage of Bitcoin miner revenue derived from fees is now back to an average of 2%. So of course, this massive spike here was during the whole ordinals thing and pinning arbitrary data via the Taproot exploit or whatever. But either way, Bitcoin continues to do Bitcoin things. It continues to be a self-healing, self-repairing network. And as quickly as the spike went up, it's come back down. We're now right back into historical average. So happy days there. By the way, if you think 2% is high, then use Lightning and you can pay 1/1000th of 3%. So of course this week we saw CPI come down Wednesday, and as of yesterday, PPI, the producer price index, came in below forecast as well. And the markets are responding very, very melt-up-esque towards this lower CPI number. We are indeed right in the middle of that Goldilocks zone. I said a Bitcoin pump is loading. We'll get to that in just a second. And whilst I think a pullback is coming, whilst I think we're about to drop into a weekly cycle low in the next few weeks, which would put us right around the end of August for the market to make a swing, I wanted to point this out because this actually surprised even me. Selling is the hard part, okay? Anyone can buy a stock, and if you buy it and it starts to go up, happy days, right? You're a genius. But the problem with most retail is they don't know how to sell. and they hold these markets really high up and then all the way back down, or even massive profit can turn into losses for a lot of retail. So it's important to be able to ride the trend and not to try to just say, wow, the market's up, I'm going to duck out here. Okay, you have to have a reason for invalidation. And if I was to ask you the question, how long can this continue? Well, take a look at this, right? Let me get my pen. This could, in theory, continue for a long, long time. Down here, this is kind of broken, but this, again, we could continue for a long, long time. We could continue for some time. We could continue for a long, long time, for some time, for a long, long time, or we could be about to roll over immediately, or we could be continuing for a while, and continuing for a very long time. So don't make the mistake of thinking just because we're into retracement levels or we're approaching the all-time high that we have to have a double top. There's going to be people that were calling for the 2008 fractal to occur, right? Ever since the lows, they're about to turn into the double top crew. They're about to turn into the, oh, it's a double top, it's a double top, it's a double top. And then after that, it will be, oh, it's a bull trap. Oh, it's manipulation, right? There's always an excuse, okay? So remember, the key thing here is to just accept you don't know. Nobody knows where the market's going to top. We do know there's a weekly cycle low coming up, and we do know out of that weekly cycle low, we should have a chance at pressing on once more. But the use of trendline breakdowns is important. Having a technical reason to exit the trade is important, rather than just guessing, rather than just looking on Twitter and saying, oh, double top, oh, bear market rally, oh, manipulation. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Use the charts. Make sure you have a valid reason to exit the market. So hopping into a few charts, a couple of things don't make sense to me, right? The dollar breaking down, happy days, probably heading towards the mid-90s, as I'm sure we know by now. Yields kind of pulling back, so we love to see that, as you can see here. And look at TLT, okay? Nowhere near a recession trade. Nowhere near this happening, are we? So no recession in sight just yet, but if this starts to rally to the top of the range, then we could possibly be concerned about that. But with all that said, and the dollar breaking down quite violently, we're not seeing the follow through from gold that I would have expected. It seems reasonable that silver would probably want some sort of back test of the breakout levels. Whether that comes, I don't think that'll come all the way down to the blue line, but probably somewhere in this neighborhood, I would have thought. Some kind of pullback before we can go again. Overall, though, I remain targeting at least $30 on this current silver move. Stocks continue to melt up, as you can see, so it'll be interesting to see how we close this week. Same is true of the Nasdaq, as you can see, big candles across the board. The Dow hasn't quite left the range yet, so again, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Tesla breaking out again, bouncing off of support, happy days, continue to push that, and the same is true of Apple, as you can see. XRP and Ethereum are moving up now, so that's nice to see. But Bitcoin is still kind of lagging, isn't it? It's still kind of not really closing above this range breakout. So does that mean an alt season is coming, or does it mean that Bitcoin is going to start to fly pretty soon? I would rather see Bitcoin fly than alt season, of course, but I'm a bit biased. I'm sure that's probably not the consensus in the market. These crypto-related equities continue to soar. So it kind of makes sense now, doesn't it, that Coinbase relisted XRP. Somebody probably knew this lawsuit was coming to an end. Maybe they had some inside information and therefore they started to add these positions. We got 20s now for Riot. We got triple digits for Coinbase, and Marathon is closing in on 20. So really, really, really insane moves across the board. Make sure you come back over the weekend and I'll do a full deep dive TA. It'd be really important to see how the closes look. And I do still think that even though everything looks really bullish, even though it's starting to feel semi-euphoric at the moment, we have to be patient, we have to be unbiased, we have to be flexible, and we have to be situationally aware, because I still think there is a cycle low coming up. Whilst we're long all the way across the board, whilst we've got massive exposure and positions all the way across the board, it is still important to be mindful here, and it is still important to keep that awareness. So make sure you come back over the weekend and I'll do the deep dive as always. And in the meantime, enjoy your weekend. Take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.